Okay. There you go. Just try to get me in there.
Gotcha.
I'm gonna sit. Been up since 4.
Pull this way. Is he in
I'll be
there?
able to get it better.
There he goes.
Let me just pull up the chair.
Okay. Oh,
Okay. So, how many times have we been shaken to our core? In the last 50 or 60 years, disasters, catastrophes. Let me start off with, there's the Holocaust, hijacking of Pan Am, 9/11. I mean, I could go on, but I won't. So, where I'm getting at is, I choose these events because they probably best represented our weakest, most frenzied moments. Because we were totally unprepared. Who could have guessed, you know? But there's a problem with this, and the problem is that everybody seems to be desensitized. Despite what we thought we knew, despite, you know, the technology available, like everything failed all down the line. So my name's Roland Smith, and I'm not really that different. I grew up in Baltimore. I was born in Harbor Hospital. I went to high school in Baltimore, and I'm still here. Yeah. Dr. Pamela Wool is a renowned psychiatrist, and she says that we tend to forget traumatic moments because they conflict with the narrative of our lives, right? So how many of you have ever, you know, like, remembered something, was telling someone about it, and the bad thing that happened wasn't nearly as important as how you handle it, right? It's the same concept. So with all this forgetting, we're kind of not addressing a need. And the need is to be prepared, you know, in the future for a disaster. So, skip this one. You're probably thinking, tell me something I don't know. You're not as prepared as you think. So, Noah and the flood, one guy builds a boat, Hurricane Katrina, and they're like, well, the Army will figure it out, right? I mean, no, they didn't. I mean, later they did. It got pretty bad. So, BP oil spill, they're like, well, we'll just throw shampoo on it, it'll sink. You can't respond effectively or efficiently if you don't have any plans. So, that's why I'm giving you a neighborly shove in the right direction, okay? I'm going to show you how to develop a business contingency plan that is comprehensive and practical. So it'll address all your needs, and you won't go broke trying to fix it. All right. How we respond will dictate how fast we can get back on our feet. And how fast we can recover means, are we going to get back to our lives, our business, our community? So you owe it to yourself and your family and clients, fiduciary responsibility, yeah, to have a plan in place. So before we get started, does anyone tell me what sort of ushered in this need to strategize and plan? It's 9/11. It started with the banks. April 7th, the SEC, the Securities and Exchange Committee, said that you have to have an off-site backup. And with that came, you know, okay, well, what else besides this off-site backup? So that sort of prompted, you know, this whole move toward having a business contingency plan. Did you know that September 10th, 400 Israelis took a day off of work? Most of them worked at the airport. So, nowhere along the line could we have expected that our ally was going to fail us so badly. I mean, the only person you can really count on is yourself to come up with the strategy of how your business is going to continue if there's a catastrophe. So, feeling prepared is not the same as being prepared. Some of the issues that contributed to the failure of infrastructure when 9/11 happened was our resources were taxed. There's no designation of authority. Panic. This is things that are going to slow you down, cost you money, cripple you. So that's why you need a business contingency plan. If there was a disaster, would you go broke trying to fix it? I don't know. But a business contingency plan, a solid one, are multiple plans that sort of address every kind of disaster that could happen. And they'll work together, you know, and play off each other. You guys need to find out what your resources are and what those resources depend on. So that's like who, what, where, right? What happens when a resource fails? Example, server damage, there's some weirdo on a network gets your credit card information while it's being batched. I know you guys do it every 2 days because it shows up in my Discover card. But that can happen. A fire, a critical employee dies, I mean, what do you do? Like a disaster for one person is not a disaster for another person. So you gotta figure out what that is. But that's a lot to think about. And that takes a lot of time. So, where do you start? The suggestion I kind of want to make and steer you toward is you don't have to do it alone. I'm going to talk about 3 technologies that are available or services that are available now that sort of will ease this burden you have, because you know, why tie up your human resources and money trying to figure out a plan for something that may or may not happen. So there's a way to sort of like streamline the cost. Okay, so we have Booz Allen Hamilton, which is a consulting company. They're sort of like, they do everything. They monitor, they consult, they provide technology, they analyze, etc. And the reason why you would maybe want to go with them is just to say, hey, look, I want to spend X amount of dollars, I want to figure out what can I do to mitigate threat agents, disasters. And, you know, I mean, they'll quote you. vMsphere is really neat. Like, I noticed you guys kind of have all your computers and stuff centralized. You know, you ever notice that, like, life jackets on a boat aren't in the same spot? There's a trend to move away from that because, you know, there could be a flood, a fire, I mean, God forbid. So what are you going to do? You're going to decentralize, and vMsphere deals with virtualizing all of that. So basically, it's software that will sort of like create a virtual machine, a virtual copy of all that stuff back there. It can be run from anywhere. So you could run it from home. You know, orange juice gets spilled. I mean, I don't know, but it's theft proof. It's friendly fireproof because sometimes people get on the computer and don't know what they're doing, and that can be a problem. And the other thing I want to talk about is SMRE, which is SunGard Mobile Recovery Environment. Went over Booz Allen Hamilton. There's consulting. We did. Okay. Covered vMsphere. And so the last thing I'm going to talk about is the SunGard Mobile Recovery. It's like they provide consulting services too, but basically what they're trying to do is they're trying to figure out everything that you guys use to run an office or your business. Provide you the machines to do that and fit them nicely into, you know, a modular unit, which can be towed away, stored in a safe, dry place. And all the while, you know, you're working, putting information in, your credit cards, you know, doing the books. It's replicating that in a standalone environment. The government has it. It's underneath Mount Weather, 35 miles away from DC, so in the event of a nuclear disaster, you know, our government just picks right back up. No, it's sort of the same thing, but a lot smaller. Think about the cost of getting a satellite office, right? You know, there's a flood, trying to just make that situation a little better. You have to buy chairs, you have to buy computers, you have to wire it, you have to tell people where it is. I mean, it would just get out of hand. So the SunGard Mobile Recovery Unit, what they'll do is they'll say, hey, you know, you need a server, a couple stations, so that you can get back on your feet. And, you know, you can situate this environment, which is sort of like it's modular, it's like modular housing. And you can situate it, you know, like maybe a little bit farther from the harbor or a floodplain, you know, just a more ideal location, and it'll always be there. So, I think we're drawing to a close, and the last question I want to leave you with is, ultimately, your business contingency plan is a reflection of you and your commitment to your clients. So, if there is a catastrophic loss, ask yourself this question: can I meet my fiduciary responsibility to protect my staff, my clients, and resources without it? And that's it. Turn it off.
I don't know the buttons. I don't know.
Here, let me do it this way. Bye.
There it goes.
I've been on for 18 hours. Thank you so much. I know everybody wants to go home. Thank you. Was that 5 minutes? That was 5 minutes, right?
It says. I don't know.
Oh, is it recording?
Yeah, still.
Oh.